Temp check. What kind of summer are we having this year? A family road trip summer? A beach bum summer? Or a wake me up when the sun sets summer? With Instacart, choose your own adventure and skip the shopping side quests. Where available, you can get ice cream delivered to your hotel, sunscreen to the pool, or cold brew to your bed. Well, door, in as fast as 30 minutes. Wherever you find yourself this summer, you can get the goods. Download Instacart for free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Excludes restaurants. Additional terms and fees apply.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is The Briefing Room? It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system.
If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served.
Hi, I'm Detective Dave.
I'm Detective Dan. Together we have decades of experience in local law enforcement, a profession that we think is often misunderstood.
So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished.
From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th.
We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
And welcome back to Scarred for Life, the podcast where we open up old wounds by looking back at the films that scared us as kids. I'm Terry.
And I'm Mary Beth.
Each episode, our special guest will bring with them a movie that traumatized them as a child.
February is Women in Horror Month, and in honor of that, we wanted to use this month to highlight women working in the horror industry, from directors to actors to writers. This week, our special guest is Valeska Griffiths. She's the founder of Anatomy of a Scream and Grimm magazine. She's the co-editor of the Scare Sacred book, published through House of Leaves Publishing, and a co-host of the Riverdale podcast called Milkshakes and Mimosas. Welcome to the show.
I don't think I've ever had the Milkshakes and Mimosas part added to an intro for a horror podcast, so this is very special.
I love that title.
It's very important, one, because Riverdale is an amazing piece of trash, and two, it's an amazing title.
Well, I did not think of the title. That would be, I believe, Andrew Roebuck thought of it. He's the main host. I'm just kind of a secondary host, I guess.
Cool. So who's your favorite character from Riverdale is an important question.
I feel like I should say Cheryl Blossom because she's more on brand, but I'm a Betty girl.
Okay.
All right.
I feel that.
My favorite is Archie's abs.
But not his acting, though, right?
No.
Hell no.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
But he has I stopped watching the show, but in the 3rd season he went from like being a kind of like a beefcake to like being freaking cut. Like
right?
It just like I was like, "Whoa, who are you?" And it didn't look healthy. It looks like he was like not drinking enough water.
Well, he's a vigilante now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yes.
He was, I think when I stopped watching, he was in prison, and I, like, watched him break out of the prison, and
was that before or after he fought the Invisible Bear?
I love Riverdale so
What?
much.
Invisible Bear?
Oh, you need to go back to the show.
Oh, yes, okay, I think, is that when he's on the lamb, and, like...
Yeah, yes.
He has the dog and stuff? Yeah, I think I saw it. I don't know. The whole thing was kind of a blur. I mean,
it's a lot.
It is a lot, but I think it's good. Like, I like a lot.
My friend in grad school really wanted to write a final paper about why Riverdale was camp, but she couldn't think of an actual academic argument to make, so she ended up not writing it. And I wish she had, because I feel like there is an academic argument, but she was like, I just can't think of one in time, damn it. And I was like, that would have been so funny. Just an entire academic paper about Riverdale.
I just want to write an entire academic paper about how it's just too much.
Exactly. Wait, can the next issue of Grimm magazine just be about Riverdale?
You're joking, but there is actually going to be a piece on the Riverdale horror comics.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Oh my god. Well, speaking of Grim Magazine, probably getting more on brand and more on topic rather than
Oh,
Riverdale.
right. Yes. This is a horror podcast. Okay.
Hey, it's not a Scarred for Life episode if we don't talk about hot boys. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Duh.
Well, I mean, we're going to talk about a hot rat later, I hope.
Yes. Oh my god, I cannot wait. So, Valeska, why did you start Anatomy of a Scream, and then how did Grim Magazine come out of that?
I think that a lot of it was that I was too anxious to pitch other sites, so I just started to I decided to start my own.
Oh my god, that's such a mood.
I know.
You're like, I don't want to pitch other people, so I'm going to make my own site, which honestly is amazing. And it's taken off, though. Like, it's amazing.
It has. It was just me for the first year, but then I decided to kind of expand a little bit, bring on some more writers, so I did that. And then I think it was close to the end of the second year, I just figured that maybe print was a good way to go from there. And Grimm was initially supposed to be just like a once-a-year Women in Horror Month kind of celebration, but then it was so much fun, I just decided to do it a couple times a year. So now we publish twice a year, February and September. And it's just been amazing working with the wonderful writers who have decided to pitch for us. So,
and I've been able to contribute twice. The most recent, it's been an absolute honor to be in print. It's like, but there's something about being in print that's just like so cool, like being able to hold your piece. I know it sounds weird, hold your piece, but like. I took a picture of me holding out the spread and put it on Facebook, and all of my friends who like totally understand what I do were like, "Oh my god, you're in a magazine!" And it's just like was very validating.
Yeah, something about it feels more real,
right?
Yeah.
Just like the tangible,
kind of. Well, and it's absolutely beautifully designed, and
thank you.
It's designed by you, right?
It is gorgeous.
It is. Thank you. It's so much work, but it's really satisfying.
I mean, it should. It's just having, and I feel like you're one of the few women out there like giving writers an opportunity to write in print, which I think is absolutely amazing. It's like what you
Andrea Subasati and I can't remember the name of the editor for Suspira magazine.
Yeah, it's just awesome. Oh, cool. And guys, if you're listening and want to pitch Grim Magazine, they just put out a call for pitches for the next issue.
Teen horror.
Oh,
ooh,
yes.
I need to pitch at some point.
You do need to pitch. Now would be a good time. I mean, not like immediately.
Right now.
Okay,
hey,
sorry guys.
Okay, here's the pitch.
Podcast over.
What if we just made a podcast of us like, oh, this is a parable, tricking editors onto our podcast and then pitching them and having them accept our pitches on the podcast? That would be really awful.
That would be so awkward. I love it.
It would definitely ensure the end of the podcast, I think.
Anyway, that's my horrible idea of the day.
It wasn't bad.
So, how did you get into horror? Was it something you grew up with?
So horror is my mother's favorite genre.
Amazing.
So I grew up kind of like half being fascinated, peeking out from behind a couch, and half like hiding in another room.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
And then as I think it was in high school, I decided I wanted to be like edgy, so I got into horror because that was like the cool thing to do. But then I realized that I actually liked it, and then just kind of went from there.
That's
Hell
awesome.
Yeah. What was your mom's favorite horror movie?
I don't know. She watched so many.
Okay.
I think she was a big fan of the Hellraiser series because I remember being very terrified by the image of Pinhead.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. That's a heavy title for a kid to watch too, for sure.
I mean, I don't think she actually watched that one while I was around. Like, she's not a bad mom or anything. I'm not trying to like paint a picture.
No.
Oh, no.
I'm sure she thought I was asleep a lot of the time.
The number of people we've talked to whose parents have been like, and including my own, who are like, "Oh, this is fine."
Yeah,
like
my parents.
It's just fine. It's fine.
My parents introduced me to Alien at 8 when I was 8, just to see my reaction.
Can't see blood until 9 years old anyway. They're like basically colorblind.
Good point.
Yeah.
Fair point. So, can you tell us a little bit more about the Scare Sacred book that's coming out soon, which I am so excited about?
Yeah, it's all about religion and horror. It's divided into 4 different sections that covers things from like Christianity to the occult, mysticism. We have a bunch of different authors, various like horror academics and critics and writers who have contributed chapters talking about different films. And I'm I'm a little biased, but I think it's amazing. I've spent a lot of time editing each chapter, and I'm just very excited for other people to be able to read it.
I have been so excited for this book for a long time.
Thank you.
I'm just, and then you said that you were editing. I'm like, everyone that is amazing in horror is part of this book, and I'm just so pumped to read it. When is it coming out, hitting
Next
bookshelves?
month.
Yes.
It's available for pre-order now at houseofleavespublishing.com.
We'll link that in the show notes, everybody.
Absolutely.
Just want to give a shout out to Rebecca Booth and R.F. Todd, who are also involved in the book. Rebecca is a co-editor and R.F. Todd was a curator. And yeah, it's very exciting. Erin Thompson also did some editing as well, and she's fantastic.
Awesome. Who are some of the writers that are contributing?
Anya Stanley, Andrea Subasati, LMK Shepard, Dr. John Cousins, just a bunch of really great people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I have a chapter on witchcraft, so you can look out for that one.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. I didn't think I could be more excited, and now I am even more excited.
Sorry about that. It's just the fact I have.
Well, do we want to talk about what we've watched recently?
Yeah.
Cool. So Terry, what have you been watching?
So, it's been a while since we've recorded because we had travel and I went to a festival. And so this is our first recording post me going to Panic Fest. And
that's
I saw
right.
a whole lot of movies. I saw 14 movies there. And then I got
In how many days?
14 and 3. It was, it was 4,
That's
6, and 4.
lot.
And then I also got 6 more online screeners to watch. So I think I've watched a total of
Terry.
20 or 21 movies for this festival.
Have you reviewed all of them?
No, no, I have not.
Okay, good.
I am drowning in reviews, and I feel really bad about it because I just have not had the time that I would like to be able to devote to reading. And then on top of that,
Terry, expecting yourself to publish that many reviews that quickly is not fair to your brain.
I mean, we've all done it.
I mean, okay, I say this as someone who has done that before, but seeking from trying not to avoid burnout.
Yeah,
it's okay. He has cold brew.
I do. I mentioned before we started recording that I have leveled up my game because I am drinking cold brew now, fellows.
It is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Terry is drinking a cold brew. 6 p.m. his time.
I mean, as you do, right?
He's the hero we need.
I don't know about that, but I am the mistake you should stay away from because this is probably going to end poorly for me. But that's okay.
That's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
But anyway, so I think over the next few episodes I'll probably talk a couple movies per episode. But the ones I really wanted to talk about that I really kind of dug is Sea Fever.
Ugh, I love Sea Fever.
Have you seen it, Valeska?
I have not, but it sounds amazing. Just judging by Mary Beth's reaction to that.
Like grunt. It's so good.
I mean, it's about an Irish.
You had me at Irish.
Irish fishing vessel that has I think she's a PhD candidate. That's on it to study the patterns of sea life. And they end up going into an area that they're not supposed to, and something latches onto their ship, and then something gets on the ship. And that's all I really want to talk about in terms of the plot, but it is so good. The acting is so good. It reminded me, I've heard a lot of people talk about The Thing in relation to this, but for me, it kind of reminded me a lot of Alien.
So it reminded me more of Alien than The Thing.
Yeah, because it's like a blue collar workforce. They have kind of the same kind of conversations that the crew of the Nostromo would have. They attack the problem in ways that feel grounded in their actual characters.
Yeah,
and I thought it was a perfect indie film about paranoia and being stuck at sea. And I love aquatic horror.
Yeah. I saw it at TIFF in September, and I interviewed the director Nessa Hardiman. She's amazing, and she was telling me about how they spent actual time on like an actual fishing vessel with a family who had been fishing like for generations. So it was really cool to hear how much research they did for that movie, and how they like used a fishing vessel that was a family fishing vessel, and it was a brother and sister who used this boat, who were blue collar workers. And it's really cool just hearing her talk about the process, but just the film in general is just so beautiful, and it's like body horror, but not too body horror. Yeah, it's awesome.
Sounds like my jam.
I was gonna say, Valeska, I feel like you would really, like, you're gonna dig this movie when you see it. I don't know if it has distribution yet, but
I have to keep an eye out for that.
I'm so glad you liked it, though. I was like, I didn't think you wouldn't like it, but I'm always nervous when I hype up a movie and tell someone to see it, and then they see it. I'm always like, oh no, what if they actually hate it?
This was like one of the movies that I like was most looking forward to at this festival, and I'm really glad that it lived up to that kind of hype, because it was the perfect movie for me. And I don't know why I didn't lead with this. I buried the lead. I watched it with Rebecca fucking McKendry in the audience, the lover of aquatic horror.
I was gonna say aquatic horror queen.
Yeah, she was in the audience. Elric Kane was in the audience, and Adam Green was in the audience.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, that in and of itself.
Panic Fest.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a great screening. And then the other one I wanted to talk about was Swallow.
I can't wait to see it.
So this movie it's an odd one. It is about this married woman who she's kind of like a trophy wife to this very rich man and his very rich family. And so like she's kind of ignored, and she's basically like an incubator for a kid. Like they really want her to just have a kid.
Ew, incubator. What a gross word. I mean, it's a good word. It's just like,
but
ugh.
It's how I felt about like the way they treated her in this. And like the movie, like, so it opened up, and I was like really afraid that this was going to be a bad movie, because it opened up with a very on the nose metaphor of like lambs going to a slaughter.
Amazing.
And I'm like, okay, this is a bit on the nose. And her name is called Hunter. And I'm like, I'm like, this is a little, but that is like,
much.
It's a little much, but like literally that is like the only time I felt that through this entire movie.
Okay, good.
And so it's basically like she has no control over her life. And then at one dinner, she decides to chew some ice, which seems like such a small thing, but like the family that she is with like stares her down.
Oh, they would hate me.
And she decides that because she has absolutely no control over her life, she finds this marble oddly fascinating, and she swallows it. And then that kind of leads her down this path of swallowing metal objects. And it's a very simple story. It's but it's very I told Mary Beth a little bit like before when we were texting back and forth that it kind of reminds me of like a rape revenge film in some way. But
AKA my jam.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to really spoil it, but it's just there's a lot of subtext behind it, and it goes into some very powerful directions. I thought it was an absolute stunner of a slow burn.
I really regret missing that at Fantasia.
Oh yeah.
I'm reviewing it for Nightmare on Film Street, so I have to watch it soon, and I'm excited. This is actually Haley Bennett, I think, is the star. I've heard absolutely amazing things about her performance. Her performance is a career-making performance in this. If people don't like sit up and take notice of her after this film, I don't know what, because she just is. She's just really good in this movie. Cool. Yeah, I've heard that it's like ridiculously amazing. Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. Well, I cannot wait to check it out. And I really can't wait to talk to you about it, Mary Beth. I really can't. And it's coming out soon, March 6th, I think. Yeah, March 6th is when it's coming out. So yeah. Listeners, you can watch it soon. Yeah. Amazing. But I think those are the two I really wanted to talk about. Okay. What about you, Mary Beth? So I've watched quite a bit, but there are like two things I really want to talk about. The first one is The Lodge. Oh, I love The Lodge. The Lodge has been one of my like most anticipated movies since early last year. And I was like so bummed it got pushed back, but I finally got to watch it. I kept missing it at festivals, whatever, but I finally got to watch it. And I was like so worried because it had been so hyped up. People were like, it's the most disturbing thing you'll ever see. And like those kinds of reviews or like kind of hyperbolic comments always kind of scare me.
Mm-hmm.
But they were
Did you
not
know the plot going in?
I did. I knew the plot going in,
Okay.
but I didn't know a lot of details. Like there were certain things that I found out when I watched it that like I probably could have found out online, but I was trying to go in as blind as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't know any of the twists. I just knew the very basic that a woman was going to a cabin with her boyfriend and his 2 kids, and it goes bad. That's really all I knew because I wanted to be as like blind as possible. Oh my God. This movie is fucking wild, and I loved it, and I never want to watch it again.
I can't wait to watch it again. But I'm just a weirdo like that.
No, but like I do want to watch it again, but like the feeling I had when it was over was
It's
just
intense.
so empty. And like everyone had said that, and again I was like, oh, I don't know about that, but good God, it really is just like gut-wrenching. Like if there's a movie I ever have to describe as gut-wrenching, it's that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, the thing is that like when I went into it, and it's one of those movies that like had an immediate positive reaction out of critics, and then all of a sudden it seemed to turn sour. And it's been kind of a divisive movie. And to be perfectly honest, I do not like Goodnight Mommy, their first feature. And it's weird because this movie kind of operates very similarly to Goodnight Mommy in some like thematic ways. Like that's not a spoiler. There's just like that kind of theme. And yet this one worked for me where that movie did not. And I've heard the opposite. So like it's a movie that I feel is going to just go based on the viewer is like, you know.
But I mean, talk about career defining performances. Riley Keough.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so she's not like new. I mean, she was in The House That Jack Built. She's in the new movie Zola that's coming out. That was at Sundance. She's amazing in this movie. And I mean, like, whew.
Can we also give a shout out to the very brief performance of Alicia Silverstone?
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I mean, hello. When I was watching it, I was like, wait, is that Alicia Silverstone? That's her.
Like she's in it very briefly, but man.
Everyone in that
I like her new little niche now because she was also in The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Oh my God, that's right. Holy shit. I forgot about that.
Same cinematographer too.
Whoa.
Yes. Yes. I that's one thing that I noted in my review because it's very, it reminded me a lot of the kind of clinical detachedness that the cinematographer employed in The Killing of Sacred Deer. And he's worked with, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the guy that did that movie.
Oh, Yorgos
Lanthimos. Yeah. He's worked with him on a number of his films.
Yeah.
It's that movie. Yeah. Emptiness.
But I mean, like, it worked so well for me. And I actually I liked Goodnight Mommy. So I was really excited to see what this pair we're going to make next. So I'm glad I lived up to the hype. I have a lot of thoughts about it that I don't want to spoil for everyone.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of thoughts about it in regards to how it represents mental health, which I think is so cool. But anyway.
It's a movie that, like, I really want to just, like, have an episode and dig into. Because
maybe if we do a Patreon.
Because, like, there's just a lot there's a lot I want to talk about that I couldn't, just touch on in the review and because a lot of listeners probably haven't even seen it yet. So, like, yeah.
And the other one I wanted to talk about was Gretel and Hansel.
Okay. I'm curious about this.
Did you see it, Valeska?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I've heard kind of mixed reviews, but the people who've really liked it have really liked it, so...
So, Terry, did you see it?
I have not seen it yet.
Okay,
I really wanted to.
So I will be the sole opinion about this movie and give it the Scarred for Life seal of approval that I am now making up.
Well, to be honest, we used it last week in After Midnight.
Oh, that's right, we did. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So now's the thing. I'm gonna make a little seal we can put on posters and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I love this.
So I absolutely adored it. I love Oz Perkins. I know that he's kind of hit or miss for a lot of people. He did The Blackcoat's Daughter, which I actually wrote about for an issue of Grimm magazine. And I love that movie to pieces. And then he did I'm the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, which I was not as impressed with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's beautiful, but I think I just got bored, like, to be perfectly honest. Sorry, guys.
It is a very slow burn.
Yeah, and I usually like slow burns, but for some, like, that one was just like...
It put me to sleep. I'm just gonna be honest.
Did you like it, Valeska?
I didn't love it, but I probably won't revisit it. But I do remember enjoying it at the time.
Literally, the only thing I remember about The Pretty Thing is the scene that worked for me was very early in the movie where she's on the phone and the cord gets stretched.
That was really good. That's really awesome.
But like, other than that, I honestly, I don't know how much I saw because I fell asleep in the middle of it. I was so, and I love slow burns, but I was so bored in that movie. But I do love Blackcoat's Daughter, something fierce.
So Gretel and Hansel is just like on another level. It's like, it's absolutely gorgeous to look at. Like, I couldn't be bored if I tried because of how beautiful it was to look at.
Yeah.
But like the story, I mean, we know the story of Hansel and Gretel, but this is a more kind of like feminist twist to the fairy tale where the woman is trying to be like the young girl trying to be more empowered.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, not to interrupt her, but I saw a review that was like bitching about the fact that Gretel was named first.
Oh my god!
Instead of it being like Hansel and Gretel, that they put it first, and how like woke trash that is. But sorry, go ahead. It just made me laugh.
But like it's about.
Oh wait, did they say that they ruined the childhood as well? I absolutely loved it. I think it was beautiful. I think it was a really awesome look at like a dark world of fairy tales. I think someone tweeted this, but like I want to see Oz Perkins do more creepy fairy tales. He creates this really fascinating world, like of fairy tales that you're kind of just plopped into. Mm-hmm. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. I was sold. It's less than 90 minutes long. I mean, like...
That's a plus.
Yeah, these are all like good things right now.
And like Sophia Lillis, isn't it, as Gretel?
Oh, I love her.
And she's so good. And also, like, this is very superficial, but like when a movie will let a young girl have short hair without it being like a central point to her character, it's my favorite. Like, let girls have pixie cuts. It's fine. But she was phenomenal. So if you like movies about witches, this is very good.
I love, all I've obviously seen is the trailer, but I just love the imagery that's going on in that trailer. And that's one thing he's really good at is like staging a scene and using like really effective images.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it. I missed it because it was at a bad time.
I think you guys will both enjoy it, just knowing what I know about you from the internet.
Yeah.
But those were the two. I also just want to give a shout out to the Final Girls Berlin Film Festival. I got to cover it remotely and watch a bunch of amazing shorts from women and non-binary directors from around the world. And it's always like, I always have a hard time like remembering to watch short movies. So making myself only look at the shorts blocks was like the best way to do that. And I got to watch some really awesome, really creative stuff from directors I want to see more of. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Just that, I mean, and I just love the idea of having like a film festival dedicated to women directors and horror, especially it's Women in History Month, or not Women in History, Jesus, Women in Horror Month. So it's just cool to be able to dedicate some of my energy to watching amazing films by up and coming artists.
Just want to give a shout out to the Bloody Mary Film Festival in Toronto for that.
Seriously, yes, them too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's like, I mean, and then there's a couple more, but I just covered it this weekend, so I watched some really cool stuff.
Amazing.
Cool.
So, Valeska, what have you been watching recently?
I got to enjoy Birds of Prey.
Oh, yes.
I just wanted to see it. I don't want to talk about it. I think I'm going to see it this weekend.
It's really, really great.
Isn't
I don't know what the people are complaining about. Oh, wait. Yes, I do. Sexism. It's gorgeous.
Men.
It's like so delightful, and I want all the costumes, including Ewan McGregor's.
Hell yeah.
He can rock some nice eyeliner too. He was
yeah.
He was
that one scene.
Yeah.
I think he wore a lot in Velvet Goldmine as well.
He did.
Oh, he definitely did in Velvet Goldmine. Oh, it looks absolutely delicious. Like, I just love the set, like the production design from the trailers looks absolutely like
it's phenomenal,
chef's kiss. So I just like it's everything I want.
And Margot Robbie is Harley Quinn. Like she just nails the role so freaking well.
I'm very happy that she nailed the accent all the way through this time.
I have not seen Suicide Squad.
Neither. So I was going to say I haven't seen that
She's
either.
The best part.
That's what I hear.
And I'm glad that we have like a movie for her that's like away from Suicide Squad, and like you can kind of see her as a better.
She is like absolute
movie.
perfection in it.
Oh,
I'm telling
I cannot wait. And I love Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Oh, me too.
So
she's very funny.
She is funny.
Sweet.
She kind of nails that awkward humor in this. It's really good.
I found it very relatable.
Cool. Okay.
Anything else that you've been watching recently?
I've been playing a lot of Sims 4.
Hell yeah.
It was free for PS Plus members, so I guess that's a shout out to PS Plus members. Download your Sims 4. But don't do what I did. I didn't figure out that you can turn the aging off until my character became an elderly person. So I'm trying to figure out how to de-age them now and looking up cheats.
Well, what is The Sims without cheats, though? I feel like I don't know anyone who plays The Sims without cheats.
Well,
That
now I
money
have to
cheat.
figure out the cheat for like $1 million as well, because I need to upgrade my house.
I'm also like used to people playing The Sims on their laptops and their computers, not on PS4.
Yeah, this is my first time with like a console Sims game. So
how is that going?
It did take a little while to get used to, but it's fine. You'll get it. It's fine.
The thing I loved about The Sims was back when the first one came out, it allowed me to like explore homosexuality in a game in ways that I wasn't comfortable exploring in the real world, because like I still was deeply in the closet at that time. And so I think that game is phenomenal. I've kind of lost track of it over the years, but man, it's a fun game.
See, I was kind of lucky in that I had a bunch of Barbies and no Ken dolls, so it was very easy for me to explore.
Yeah. I mean, I had a bunch of like He-Man dolls, and you know, it's like shirtless men.
Yeah.
And they
and really nice haircuts.
Yeah.
They're basically made for it.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Well, so we have talked about what we've been watching. Let's talk about the movie you brought with you today, Valeska. What are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about Don Bluth's The Secret of NIMH.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. So before we talk about the film, we just want to give all of you a quick synopsis to get you up to speed. If you haven't seen this, you need to see it now. It's beautiful. So in The Secret of NIMH, it's plowing season. And
Boy, is it. Sorry.
Jesus Christ, Terry.
Sorry.
Yeah, I loved it.
I was like, feeling all professional. This is the best.
No, I'm glad that you said that, because I have a few jokes that I wrote down that I was wondering if they were a little bit too much, but that's the kind of podcast we're on, apparently.
I was going to say, I don't think there's anything, we haven't found out what too much is for us quite yet, so
Fantastic.
The level is pretty high. Anyway.
I'm sorry.
Don't ever apologize. Take two. It's plowing season, Terry Menard's favorite time of year, and a widowed field mouse named Mrs. Brisby, voiced by Elizabeth Hartman, must quickly move her family before the plow destroys everything. Unfortunately, her youngest son, Timmy, is deathly ill with pneumonia and can't go outside. So, Mrs. Brisby sets out on a grave journey to enlist the aid of a colony of highly intelligent escaped lab rats that have built a subterranean society inside a rose bush near the farmer's house. And if that description doesn't get you excited for this movie, I don't know what else to tell you. Because it's about wizard rats, and it's the best.
It is literally the best.
It is so good.
So how old were you when you saw this, Valeska, and what did it do to affect you? Like how did it scare you?
I mean, I must have been like probably 4 or 5 when I first watched it, but I can't actually remember. But I do remember that I rewatched it dozens and dozens of times. A lot of the films that I watched as a child were surprisingly dark. Have you heard of an Australian film called Sarah and the Squirrel?
No,
I sure haven't.
It's about a young girl in Nazi Germany who's forced to hide in the woods with her family, who then disappear. And she decides to sabotage a bridge in order to stop the Nazis from transporting supplies.
Oh, wow.
So
that was not where I thought you were going to go with that.
I also watched a Danish film called Samson and Sally about whales that was very dark and disturbing. It was about like pollution and whaling. And basically what I'm trying to say is that I think my mom just let me watch a lot of like animated films just because they were animated and didn't really know about the content, or maybe she just, I have no idea what was going on in her head, but I watched a lot of really dark stuff growing up.
Hell yeah. Oh, apparently Sarah and the Squirrel is narrated by Mia Farrow.
It is.
Oh.
Cool. We'll put a link to this in the show notes, guys, to both of those films. Because
Samson and Sally is like fantastic. I highly recommend that one. So I don't really know what scared me the most. I think just the overall tone of the film, because it's a very, very dark film, especially compared to Disney films, which are like primarily filled with, you know, upbeat music and humor. This film that just has like so many sequences that are just like creepy and tense. Like I can think of probably like 3 or 4 offhand. Probably what comes to mind the like most vividly was the sequence where she's trying to drug Dragon the cat and she ends up like cutting herself, and seeing blood in an animated film is kind of still novel, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was something that really struck me growing up, because there are a few different scenes in the film where people actually get like stabbed or cut, and you can see the blood.
I was actually really shocked about that when there's a certain part at the end where that happens, and I was like, oh shit, they really did show like the blood of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie is full of death. There is a lot of death in this movie. From like, there's like a scene of the rats escaping NIMH.
Oh god, the mice.
And the mice get sucked in the vent.
And they're just like screaming and like being pulled away by the wind. It's just, it's terrifying.
It's horrific.
Yeah.
And if you think about just like the idea, because the whole premise behind it is that it's time for the farmer to plow his field, and all of the creatures that are living in the field have to like uproot their lives before they get run over by a fucking plow. And it is a nasty ass plow. It is, everything about this is about death.
And it's such an effective sequence too, because you have all the hares like thumping on the ground with their feet to like warn these subterranean creatures, and then everyone's just like fleeing at the same time. Just, it's so good.
It reminded me a lot of Watership Down, which was a movie that's like that fucked me up as a child.
That movie is a nightmare.
I've
never seen it.
Well, so I watched it in like the 4th or 5th grade, and there's just like a lot of graphic rabbit death. But it's like not cute little animals like in Secret of NIMH. It's like pretty realistically rendered cartoon rabbits. So there's not that kind of like dissonance between, like, you know, in Secret of NIMH, it's like they're all wearing clothes and stuff. So it's like, they're a little bit more human like. Watership Down, those rabbits are straight up rabbits. And it's just like awful.
Plus, it's all about politics, which is pretty heavy for, you know, a children's film. Yeah. Well, what's ostensibly a children's film, but maybe shouldn't be.
Okay, there is a lot of politics in this movie.
There are a lot of politics. I was like, everyone was just trying to get kids to be political, and they were doing it through cute animated woodland creatures.
Yeah, it's almost like it kind of it was totally over my head when I watched it as a kid, but like it's totally about like, down with capitalism. Let's go live. One person like messaged us on Twitter and was like, it's an anti-civ masterpiece. And I'd never heard the term anti-civ before, and I had to look it up, but it's basically this movie where like, let's all leave the society and destroy it, and then just basically live in kind of like a colony where everyone participates and brings something to it, as opposed to the way that the rats have been living currently. And I'm like, man, this movie really kind of goes there.
It does. So another thing that sticks out to me now is like the maturity of like the dialogue and the themes, which, like you said, went over my head completely when I was in, you know, whatever grade it was that I saw it.
Yeah.
Did any of you read the book?
No.
I did, but it was so long ago. I don't really remember too many of the differences.
Yeah, same here. Well, because
all I know is that it was Mrs. Frisbee in the book, and they changed it because of the Frisbee.
Was that why?
Yeah. Yeah, they changed it for the movie because of the Frisbee.
That's so funny.
What were you going to say, Mary Beth? I'm sorry.
I was just going to say that, like, I knew I saw this movie as a kid, but I couldn't remember any of it for some strange reason. And then I watched it yesterday, and it all just came flooding back to me immediately. It was so strange. Like, I Terry, you tweeted something similar to this. Like, I don't remember watching it all the time, but I have, like, all of a sudden I remembered all of these parts, like with Jeremy and Dom DeLuise's voice, and like, the beauty of the film. And it was like, oh shit, I watched this a lot. I think I got it from the library as a kid and watched it all the time.
I mean, the animation is so gorgeous.
Don Bluth, man.
He left Disney just so that he could bring back, like, all these old traditional techniques. Like, a lot of the scenes were backlit, so they would have, like, the matte application of the colors on the film and then, like, shoot light through colored gels. And that's where you get, like, the glowing of, like, the great owl's eyes. Stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, also a lot of rotoscoping as well.
Yes. And so the thing that blows me away with this is that, you know, he was working at Disney, and he was working at a time where Disney animation was kind of going downhill in a way. Like, there was just a bad period of time for him. And he was like, he was basically being put to use as kind of like the worker bee, and he had like all these great ideas, and he really wanted to do this movie. And so he left Disney, and he and a team of animators from Disney basically mortgaged their houses, worked out of garages. Like, you can tell the amount of love that is going into this movie, as if it's like the last thing they could possibly do, and they needed to get it out, you know?
I mean, all of that was worth it. It's a joy to watch.
It really is. And the thing, like what Mary Beth was saying, I know that I had seen this movie, and I know that I'd watched it a couple times, but it had been like, I don't even know. It might have been 25 years since I've seen this movie. And yet when
you just fell back into it.
I did when I was watching the kind of opening where Mrs. Brisby's going to talk to Mr. Aegis, I could quote those lines before they were going to happen. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what she's going to say. I know what he's going to say. I know that, oh, he's going to fall down into the little pipe. And like, everything just came flooding back to me. And it's amazing how not seeing a movie in 25 years, and yet it still had that kind of effect on me.
Just burrowed right into your subconscious.
Yeah.
Well, and Valeska, last night I was messaging you about the podcast, and we were talking about the movie a little bit, and you called it dark magic, and like, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
It's beautiful dark magic. So I, like, admittedly didn't know, like, I knew who Don Bluth was, but I wasn't like super aware of his work. And I was watching The Secret of NIMH, and I was like, wait, hold on a second. This all feels like very familiar. And my partner Steve was like, yeah, he animated like everything from like the 80s. So I
Land Before Time?
Yeah. So I looked up, like, I went to check out his work. Land Before Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven, Anastasia, aka the best Disney movie of all time. He did The Troll in Central Park.
American Tail.
American Tail.
Yes. Like, and as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh yes, okay, this man's animation style like shaped so many childhoods.
So, but like, also, what an effect he had on a generation of youth, because okay, this movie comes out and it's traumatizing and scary, and then a year later he's fucking making people spend 50 cents on a game to play Dragon's Lair.
Right?
I can't tell you how many quarters, how many dollars, how many $5 I went through to play that game. And then a few years later, he's breaking people's hearts with Land Before Time, with the horrible, wrenching death of the mom. Like,
well, see, you made that happen because the video game segment actually like kept the company afloat. You can take some credit for that.
Hell yeah. You're welcome, kids of the 80s, for being traumatized.
The Land Before Time was supposed to be a little bit more intense and dark, but they made him dial it back a bit. I'm really curious as to what the film would have looked like if there hadn't been so much studio influence.
Yeah. The thing is like, what surprised me about it watching again is how terrifying some of the sequences are. Like when she's going to meet the Great Owl,
oh,
for instance.
Jesus.
With the spider?
The fucking spider.
Oh
the
my
fucking
God.
spider. The fucking spider. And then he just like steps on it. It's like gooey, and the owl is this, it kind of reminded me of like in a fantasy movie when the heroes have to go into like some undead tomb, because he's like covered in webs and his head's upside down, and all you see are his eyes like glowing.
And also, like, just in terms of size, he's like 500 times larger than her.
Oh yeah, he just
like
towers.
the scale of him.
Literally, when the spider came out, I was like, there is not that big of a size difference between mice and spiders. And Steve was like, well, there's big spiders. I'm like, they're not that big.
They're that big for me.
That was a king spider.
And then, and then Nicodemus has those like nasty hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, those are Rasputin's hands from Anastasia. They're literally the exact same hand, like with like weird little bubbles on it. Watch your words, they look like bubbles, like the long nails. They have the same weird hands.
Good catch.
Yeah.
I think I watched Anastasia so much as a child. Like it was my favorite.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't? You should.
I haven't.
Well, I don't even know if it would be as good now. I'm colored by being obsessed with it as a child, but it's very good.
I mean, if Don Bluth is involved, I'm sure it's good.
Beautiful. And like the music is really cool. It's like not as cheesy as a lot of other Disney music to me. And it's creepy. It's an entire section where Rasputin sings to like creepy ghosts and bugs about kidnapping Anastasia.
Wow.
It's pretty creepy. It's on the same level as that. Have you seen The Hunchback of Notre Dame? The animated?
No.
Oh, never mind. Okay. Damn it. Never mind. Just kidding. That movie also... No, it's okay. That movie also has a very creepy song about a man wanting to steal a woman. There's a couple movies with that in Disney that I'm like, wait, hold on. These songs are really awful.
So, but speaking of music, I forgot that Jerry Goldsmith did the score to this. And it's so good.
It's a very good score.
It's so good. I think Jerry Goldsmith is an amazing composer. Rest in peace.
What else has he done?
Let's see. He did Alien. He did Planet of the Apes. He did he did a bunch of movies in the 90s like First Night. He did The Ghost in the Darkness. He did Gremlins. He did Poltergeist.
Oh my God.
He's like all over the place.
And then Secrets of NIMH.
Secrets of NIMH. Yep. He did the Star Trek movie. He just like he did so much. He did LA Confidential, Air Force One. He did Mulan.
Good God.
He did The Mummy, The Haunting, Hollow Man. Most of the Star Trek movies, Malice. Like his Basic Instinct, Total Recall, Warlock, Leviathan,
Jesus.
The Birds. Like it goes on and on and on. And
let's just make the rest of this podcast just like listing his credits.
There we go. I mean, we could. He is.
Oh my God.
He started in like the early '60s, and he composed up until his death. I think he's a very underrated, because everyone talks, about like
John Williams.
But like, I think Jerry Goldsmith has made some really challenging scores, and they always seem to stick in my head. And it was one of those things where it's like I was humming along to the music, and I hadn't again watched this movie in so fucking long.
I find that often it's like more so than the dialogue, it's like the score that stays with me.
Mm-hmm. I had the same reaction to when we rewatched The Dark Crystal. It's like the music just like came back to me in such a strong way.
So, do we want to talk about the elephant in the room, and the elephant being the hot rat named Justin?
I am here to say that Robin Hood and Justin made me gay.
Honestly, mood.
I mean,
my sexual awakening was Janny Phantom.
I feel like everyone had a crush on Robin Hood. I mean, for good reason.
But I also feel like people didn't talk about it until we were all older, and then we all found out we were all freaks.
Okay, so two things. I have this theory that Don Bluth is responsible for creating the furry fandom.
Holy shit, Terry!
Because he animated Robin Hood.
What?
He was the character animator for fucking Robin Hood.
He was.
And then he turns around and makes Justin. And I'm going to throw it out there. I also think Jenner is cute in a very wolfish sort of way.
He has got the hottest voice.
He has such a nice voice. But I'm telling you, I went on a deep dive because the furry fandom historically came to be in the science fiction convention in 1980. I have a feeling that the rise of sexy animated animals of Robin Hood and Justin and the rest of them have created the furry fandom. That is my theory.
You need to write like a furry history and just call it like My Dreams of Robin Hood.
Yes.
And just like interview people about like their first experience with that film.
Oh my God. This is happening. I'm writing
I'll
this
write
down.
the forward if you want.
Yes, please. No, but seriously.
You can't see me nodding, but I'm just like very slowly nodding my head.
I could actually like feel.
Could you feel
the
that?
nodding.
Can you feel?
Yes.
Yeah, so when Mary Beth, it was so funny when you were tweeting last night, you're like talking about how hot the rat is, and your boyfriend's like, excuse me? I was like dying because it's true.
He literally came on screen. I was like, "Oh, it's the hot rat!" Like it was ingrained in my subconscious that Justin is the hot rat, and so many people agreed with me and came out about it and said that they felt the same way about him and Robin Hood. And I was like, I have found my people, my freaks.
Yeah, I was reading all the responses to your tweet. They're just like, "You're talking about Justin?"
And I'm like, "Thank you for knowing exactly who I'm talking about." Like, it's fascinating. And
I mean, it's definitely not Jenner's friend.
Which no.
The short rat, Jenner's friend,
yes.
the one who stabbed him in the back, so to speak.
Wait, so why do we think he's attractive? Like, can we dig into this? Like, why? What is it? What is it about him?
He has very good posture.
You were ready. You're like, I know exactly why he's hot, and it is his posture.
I'm pulling up a picture because I think it's his face. His face to me is like he has. I can't
He's got that face.
He has
a good voice too, though.
He does have a really good voice.
He has a good smile. His eyes are just so like, I don't know, animated.
Okay, now I'm also pulling up a picture so I can check out his shoulders.
Me too. Oh my god,
I love a good shoulder.
And he just like he's a little goofy.
Don Bluth.
Self-effacing. He's self-effacing, which is nice.
Yes. And he's so boy, this is really exposing some of my kinks. He's so tall, especially when he's standing next to Mrs. Brisby.
And he can wear a tunic.
Yes, he can.
Is the implication here that somehow he and Mrs. Brisby hook up? Did you?
I mean, I hope so. I'm shipping them.
Okay, cool. I was like, am I the only one that was like not like reading between the lines of that and being like, cool, interspecies love, we can make it work.
Well, yeah, and I also really.
I mean, he looks half mouse.
He does. I also just really wanted him and Jenner to fuck. I'm sorry.
Wow,
there was a lot of tension there, though. I feel like if they just like.
This is no longer a horror podcast.
If you scroll far enough on Google image search of Justin Secret of NIMH, there is fan art of him and Brisby together. Thank you.
The one of them holding hands?
No, there's one of them hugging.
Aw.
It's cute. It's not bad fan art, guys. It's appropriate.
We have our filters on. Thank you very much.
Oh, nope, that's inappropriate.
I just saw a kissing one.
That's the one I also saw. But I guess what was watching this movie now, it is fascinating, like the power of animation to get us attracted to a cartoon rat. Like, talk about like talented to make that happen. And obviously, it's not just us. Like, it's a pretty widely experienced thing. So I don't know. That's really cool in a way. I think that animation can have that. Like reaction?
It makes me wonder now if a lot of his stuff was rotoscoped as well, so we're actually seeing like a human body moving and just like seeing the rat's face superimposed.
Oh,
because it could be a lot of the body language as well.
That's really interesting.
I think that's part of it, especially with Robin Hood and with this, is that the animation is so fluid that it feels. It feels like it feels very human. I mean, I get that that's sort of like what they're going for. It's that anamorphic or whatever the term is. But like, it literally, they move like humans. And so there's that kind of, it's not even Uncanny Valley because you're looking at an animal, but it's familiar to you because it's the way that we're seeing a human walk or move. And it's so fluid that I think maybe, yeah, I don't know, but it's something.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just want to say that I found a Justin cosplay outfit that I'm going to put into the chat.
Very good.
Love this for us.
It hasn't fully loaded for me, but that is, I think, the link to it.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh. It's just a shirt.
I mean, if that's something you want to incorporate into your life in any way you want, I'm not here to judge.
Hell no. I would celebrate it.
I wonder if I could get Steve to wear that, and then I can just wear a little red cape and be Mrs. Brisby.
Oh my God!
Yes, please.
Costume of the year.
Yes, please.
You have to do that now.
I think I do. I was going to say, wait, now I have to do this.
I mean, it's recorded, so you can't go back.
What was I going to say? Terry, you sound like you say. Good Lord, sorry. I've had a long day.
She's like all overcome by all of this conversation about Justin.
It's true. I've gotten all hot and bothered.
Yeah, same.
The thirst is real.
The thirst is real for a rat.
He's like a babe rat, though.
Oh, he is. He is definitely the definition of bae. But kind of pulling us back on track and away from my thoughts of Justin and Jenner in a tree.
I mean, we can just hover right there as long as you need to.
Trust me, I want to linger all night. But anyway.
Oh my God. Amazing.
This is fun, you guys.
Okay, so cold brew is definitely kicking in. I'm feeling I'm in that kind of
oh no.
I am only podcasting with you guys when there's cold brew involved.
Hell yeah.
This is great.
Well, this might be a thing that I do every time now. I don't know. But anyway, so what I love about this movie is that, and I really noticed it this time, is how it gives agency to the mother.
Yeah.
So, like, if you consider the kind of cartoons from that time, you know, you have Bambi, where the mother dies. You have Dumbo, where the mother is ripped away from the kid and put in a cage. You have The Land Before Time, another Don Bluth movie, where the mom dies. And it's always from the kid's perspective. It's always about, like, dealing with that. And yet here, it's a story about a woman that she's a timid mouse, but she goes on this journey, and she basically has to face all of her fears, heights, the cat, everything, to save her family. And it's kind of interesting when you consider again that the time period that this is taking place in.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. That's a really good point.
Yeah, that actually stuck out a lot to me too when I was watching it, because like you said, a lot of these movies the mom dies or she takes a back seat. But this is like a very rare animated movie where the mom is the hero and she is the focus, and her kids take the back seat. Well, not like they take a back seat in terms of like screen presence, but really they are the motivation for everything she does. And I don't think I had really ever obviously registered that as a kid. For some reason I remembered her as not being a mom, which is an interesting thing. We can dig into that if we want, but she doesn't act like the normal, and scare quotes, cinematic mom that you see in animated films, which is amazing. And I don't think that's talked about enough, Terry. Like you brought up, Terry, and I'm so glad you talk about it, because she's a badass.
She is a badass.
And a badass in a way you wouldn't expect. And like, she's not tough all the time, but she's tough in like a very specific way. Like, she's resilient.
It's a really nice balance between like her terror and her bravery. Like we see her doing something amazing and then like cowering to the point where like Auntie Shrew has to pull her off of the tractor after she sabotages it.
And it feels very real though. I mean, again, she's a cartoon mouse, but like like you said, there's a balance. Like she's relatable in a way. Like she will do anything, but not without a little bit of fear and hesitation. Mm-hmm. And that's like so authentic in a way that feels weird to say it with an animated kids movie, but it is like a more authentic portrayal of like being a person.
I feel like you don't see that a lot, especially in like Disney films, where everyone seems to be more of a caricature.
The other thing that really stuck out to me, and like I kind of feel talking about this is sort of like, well, duh, Terry, but I didn't realize how much of a fantasy movie this was. Like it tackles traditional family tropes. I mean, it's a hero's journey. Mm-hmm. She starts out as this timid field mouse, and by the end of it, she has the magical amulet, which is always also a trope in fantasy stories, or like some magical item. And she discovers the power inside of her, and she's the one that ends up saving her family. So you got the hero's journey. There's even a dragon, like the cat is literally named Dragon. You have the owl, who's the wise teacher that imparts knowledge. There's sword fighting. There's the idea of like the mice are peasants living in this kingdom, and the royal court is full of rats that could care less about the lower creatures, as they even say it in their little royal court ruling area. And it almost has like a prophecy to it. And it really struck me about how this is a traditional fantasy movie with animals.
I said earlier, but Steve called them rat wizards. Like,
yeah.
They're like, Nicodemus is just a fucking wizard.
He is.
He's telekinetic. It's amazing.
It's truly phenomenal. And so this is funny. So Steve was a psychology major in college and works in psychology now. And sorry, everybody, but when he did his thesis, he did testing on rats. And he was like, that's not how rat testing works. I'm like, Steve, it doesn't matter. He's like,
we don't give them superpowers.
He was like, it'd be really cool if that's how that happened, but we would be dead if that was how that happened.
So since we're going down this route, like, okay, first of all, I did not realize when I was a kid that NIM was actually stood for something.
Yeah.
And they even like literally fucking spell it out in the movie, but like, I don't know. I just never really thought about it being like a real organization. But going off of what you're talking about with Steve, my brother, he is currently pursuing a PhD in neurology. And he has to do stuff with mice, and the stories that he has to tell about them, driving them basically mad with LSD before breaking their necks. Like, it's fucked up. It's fucked up, and it's horrible. And it's something that resonated this time watching this movie about how much the rats are dependent on humanity, and yet humanity is what fucked them up.
Yep. Well, there's a point when Jenna goes like, we'll go to war. And I'm like, with what, the fucking people? Honey, as smart as you are, I don't know if that...
I mean, they created an elevator that becomes airtight, goes underwater.
Oh my god, my favorite part of the movie.
You do have a point.
Where's all that really water at? That's what I wanted to know. Where's all that water? Where's all that water coming from? That's what I wanted to know.
Every time they water the rose bush, they just hold on to the water.
Oh.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, that makes sense, actually. But...
Or they steal it from Dragon's Bowl.
There we go. Which, by the way, terrifying creature. I love the design of dragon.
I mean, I don't really like the way that the film demonizes cats, but it was a different time.
So... I've had a day today, and I work in an animal shelter. Fuck off, Terry. I work in an animal shelter. I know where the story's going. I know. I work in an animal shelter as like my day job, and today I got bit by a cat.
Oh no!
And it was like she's one of those cats where like she turns on you in a second, and it is just like an unfortunate situation. She's fine, I'm fine, but I have a puncture wound in my hand, and it's just like. I love cats with all my heart, but it's so funny being like demonizing cats. And I walked into my house today, I looked at my cat and said, "Your kind are the devil."
Well, okay, so
you're not wrong.
I love cats so much, but Jesus Christ.
Here's the thing. I love cats. They are my favorite animal. I'm not a dog person. I love cats. I think cats are wonderful. I absolutely love them. However, I will say that when I was watching this movie, I was like, oh, animated movies really fuck over cats. But I also was thinking about the Oatmeal comic. Have you guys seen the Oatmeal comic about cats actually kill?
Yes.
I don't think I remember.
Oh my god, yes.
Well, I just put it in chat and we will link to it. But like, he basically does this thing where he like goes through about how cats are serial killers. And according to the studies that they did, of all the animals they kill, 21% are brought home, 30% are eaten, and almost 50% are just left to rot. Because they just basically toy with them and kill them and then leave their bodies. And these are domesticated cats. They're not talking about like feral cats or whatever. And he talks about how there's 84 million cats in this country and 28 million of them are murder cats. So like, on one hand, I'm like, man, cartoons really demonize cats, but on the other hand, there are 2,912,000,000 deaths.
I do have a counterpoint, sort of. So I lived in a house that had mice, and I had a cat at the same time. And the cat would kill the mice, but I don't think he meant to, because we would just find these like perfectly styled mice bodies. And I think he just like would hold them and like lick them until they had a heart attack.
I'm pretty sure that's what a serial killer does.
Oh my
just like
God.
pose the bodies. So I'm just gonna say
There was never any blood. It was just like
That's not a counterpoint. That is further evidence.
that
no,
is
he
like,
just loved them too much.
I love him. He licked them so much they had heart attacks. I accept no other narrative. That is exactly what happened.
I think that he had there were good intentions there, I'm sure.
Hello, friend. I must clean. Oh no, my
must
friend
clean you.
cannot move anymore.
oh
You
well,
would look so much better if that fur was just slicked back a little bit. Let me help you.
and now I'm just gonna stage your body
Oh my god.
because I'm totally not a serial killer.
My cat,
Sweetest cat.
my cat did kill cockroaches in my old apartment, but I don't think, again, he didn't know what to do.
Oh, that is a good cat.
He was great. He's an amazing cat. But like he did it and then didn't know what to do with them. He was like it's like he didn't follow. He like his instincts got him halfway there, and then they just kind of fell off.
My parents' cat, in the summertime, does not eat dry food because he's an outdoor cat and he gets his fill of creatures that he kills outside.
Jesus
and
Christ.
he will drop off heads of birds in front of the door for
This
us.
is fucking hereditary shit.
I was just gonna say that.
Yep. He drops off heads of birds. It's like, and mice. It's like, oh, there's a bird head just perched on our doorstep.
Oh my god. I mean, I love
That's some
cats.
mafia shit.
Right?
I love cats dearly, but they are rather psychotic.
Yeah.
They're too smart for their own good.
But they purr so well.
They do purr so well. They purr so well, and then all of a sudden their purrs stop and they bite you in the hand.
Yeah. Or it was like my old cat before she passed away, and she would sleep on my feet while I was playing games, and every time I move it, she would just wrap her around me and bite me.
Cats.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying cats are so smart and so stupid.
Yep.
I had one cat that I could not let come into my room at night anymore because whenever I wasn't petting him, i.e. asleep, he would like full on punch me in the face with all of his might.
Oh, Jesus. I had to kind of do the same thing with my cat too. When she was a kitten, she would like at 3 a.m. just take off running, and she was she was a heavy cat. She was a Maine Coon. She was 25 pounds.
Oh,
and she
wow.
would use
25 pounds?
Yeah, she would use my
That's
stomach
amazing.
as like a bounce board in the middle of the night. And so I had to like not let her sleep in my room because she would wake me up at 3 a.m.
They bring this on themselves.
They do.
They do.
But
My cat
Wow.
grooms me at night.
Oh my god, that's adorable.
It is cute, but it hurts. It's like really sweet, and then I'll wake up in the morning and be like, what the fuck is this tangle? It's like literally I'll have tangles in my hair from my cat Zucchini licking my head.
oh, zucchini.
It's like you're a giant mouse.
Hello, human. You are actually giant mouse. Must clean you. Your hair dirty.
Must tenderize you.
Oh, Jesus. Gross. Anyway.
Wow. All right.
I went off on a tangent there about our cats. But
Yeah, we took a journey.
we did take a journey.
We took a couple journeys tonight.
We did take a couple journeys tonight, but they were all amazing journeys.
Yes.
What a good
I
movie.
think we accomplished a lot.
I'm so glad you picked this movie.
I am too.
Like,
It is literally a masterpiece.
Well, I was watching it, and Steve came home from work, and he's like, "What?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm watching Secret of NIMH for a podcast." He's like, "Yeah, why else would you be watching it?" And I was like, "I wish more people would watch it." Because I thought about it. I was like, "Yeah, he's right." And then I'm like, "Wait, hold on. This movie's actually, like you said, a masterpiece."
It's fantastic.
It
I
really
think that you
is.
should give your listeners some homework.
Everyone,
Yeah.
listen to this. Not listen. Watch The Secret of NIMH. It's on Tubi for free.
Yeah. It's also on Amazon Prime. That's how I watched it.
Can we just talk a little bit about how Jeremy's crow girlfriend at the end is plump and a little bedraggled looking, which is very relatable?
Yes.
I like that they didn't like slim her down and give her like fake crow boobs or something.
Crow boobs.
But they gave her like a feather ponytail, which I love.
Oh my god.
She was amazing. I loved her.
I loved,
Yeah.
but I loved Jeremy so
Spin-off.
much. Oh my
Okay,
God.
Dom DeLuise though, he is such an amazing voice actor.
His voice, and like again, this was someone's voice who I knew so much as a kid, but I did not know who he was. And
Right.
now that I'm older, I'm like, wow, again, voiced my childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was what was the other dog, the sidekick dog in All Dogs Go to Heaven? Not Charlie, the other one.
I forgot, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And he was also, wasn't he? I think he was in American Tail too. I think he's done a couple Don Bluth films.
That makes sense.
Because I think he was the orange cat that befriends Fievel, I believe.
Oh, that's right.
Was the cat demon? Oh, it wasn't demonized. That's good.
The cats were demonized in that movie. No, it was like the whole song is "There are no cats in America" because the mice are being eaten by. It's like a stand-in for anti-Semitism, and like the cats are basically fascists, Nazis.
Yes,
and they're killing the Jewish mice is basically the theme of that movie.
Yes. Who is Tom DeLuise in? Oh, he's in Oliver and Company. Have you ever seen Oliver and Company?
I love Oliver and Company.
Oh, it's
so cute.
What a good movie. But he really, and like I'm looking at a picture of him now, and he looks just like what he sounds like. It's like a very plump Italian man with a nice beard.
Rest in peace, dude.
Rip.
Was he also in Robin Hood Men in Tights?
Yes, he
was.
Yes,
he was.
Okay.
Looking at that right now. He was Don Giovanni. Yep, makes sense.
That tracks.
A name like that. But yeah, I fell in love with this movie all over again, and I'm so glad we got to watch it.
He was also Pizza the Hut and Spaceballs.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
And on that note.
And on that phenomenal note.
Oh, jeez.
I'm exhausted, you guys. This was a lot.
Yeah, we went a lot of places.
Yes, we did. So thank you, Valeska, for joining us to talk about this very underrated masterpiece, Secret of NIMH. Where can the listeners find you, and what do you have to plug? What's coming up for you?
I guess you can follow me on Twitter at bitchcraftto. There's a new issue of Grimm out. You can access that at anatomyofaScream.com. We have free digital downloads. You can order it in print.
It's beautiful in print.
Scared Sacred, Idolatry, Religion, and Worship in the Horror film is coming out next month.
We'll pull all that info in the show notes, guys, so you can link. We can link out.
Oh yeah,
perfect. Yeah, I got a lot going on. I think that's like those are the three most important right now, though.
It seems to be the story of your life. You got a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff. You just have a lot of like stuff in the air, and I think that's awesome. I don't know how you do it.
Oh, and for Toronto people, we're having an anniversary party for Grimm at the Monarch Tavern on the 28th at 7 p.m.
I'm flying to Toronto.
There's going to be karaoke. It'll be worth your time.
Flying to Toronto. Anyway, so you've heard from us. We want to hear from you. What was your experience with the secret of NIMH growing up? Send us an email at scarredforlifepodcast@gmail.com, and we might feature you in an upcoming episode. You can also reach out to us on Twitter. I'm at MB McAndrews.
And I'm at Gaily Dreadful.
And of course, follow the podcast on Twitter at Scarred Podcast. We post contests. We post our episodes. We like to interact with our fans and our listeners, so please follow us on there.
And please don't forget to review, rate, and subscribe. We had a review just this last week from someone about the Rob Sheridan episode, so thank you so much for taking the time to do that on iTunes. It's really helpful.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for taking the time to do that. It really does help, so keep doing that. Thank you to Steve Barnold for our artwork. Thank you to Sean Keller for our amazing music. Thanks everyone for listening this week, and stay creepy.
And until next time.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What is The Briefing Room?
It's a behind-the-scenes look at how the criminal justice system works and the lives of the people within that system.
If you love true crime, well, these are the real people who do the job every day of making sure justice is served.
Hi, I'm Detective Dave.
I'm Detective Dan. Together, we have decades of experience in local law enforcement, a profession that we think is often misunderstood.
So we're going to explore how to do it right, and we won't shy away from when it's done wrong. These are stories you'll hear nowhere else. Unique, frank, and unvarnished.
From the team that brought you Small Town Dicks, this is The Briefing Room. Episode 1 drops on August 30th. We'll meet you in the briefing room.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.